You're welcome for the jingle, no extra charge. So let's review some of the key features of Tuya's commercial lighting software as a service solution. The first is human-centric lighting. The goal here is to mimic outdoor lighting indoors and to sync with natural circadian rhythm for health and wellness purposes. It's well understood that when people are in natural sunlight, they're more productive, they're happier, in a better mood, and it's more than just changing colors or dimming capabilities, but you're actually adjusting the light to enhance productivity long term. You can easily configure groups of light fixtures to sync with circadian rhythms and protocols. The system will automatically adjust the CCT and the brightness to the fixtures throughout the day. Next is energy management. You can create actions and scenes that can be automatically executed to implement energy saving strategies. Link single device or group actions with sensors, schedules, sunrise and sunset times, weather conditions, etc. You can view, compare, and analyze power consumption of devices and groups by day, month, or year. We also provide you a data dashboard that at a glance, you can see exactly how your building or space is performing in terms of energy consumption, device monitoring, and maintenance so that you can easily and quickly make adjustments. In addition, you can do energy use monitoring. You can provide Tuya can provide remote monitoring of the control system, allowing you to see how many devices are disconnected, how many hours the fixture has been used, estimate replacement dates, create smart scenes to save energy, and much more. It also allows for easy installation. You can streamline installation and project management through Tuya's installation and commissioning app. The system also gives you a bird's eye view of your construction projects, managing project information for the whole company and individual contractors. You can assign construction tasks, manage and monitor project status and schedules. You can also view and control devices from a map of the lighting layout. You can monitor device conditions, including status, operation time, energy consumption, and life expectancy. When the devices change to abnormal status, a notification alert is sent to the maintenance team to repair. The Tuya Pro app allows you to create automations based on multiple trigger types, including sensors, switches, schedules, and the settings of other devices. So you can create multiple conditions to trigger scenes. You could control multiple devices in an area all at once. You could receive push notifications when a scene is activated. And you can implement energy saving strategies and create preset scenes and actions for circadian rhythms. Now, there are many different ways to create triggers or scenes in our system. For example, for a sensing scene, through the motion sensors, you can detect the motion of the personnel in meeting rooms and automatically turn off lights when nobody's there. Lights turn on automatically when there are people in the room. You can set up schedule scenes for businesses running on a standard operational schedule. You can set the lights to automatically come on at 7 a.m. and automatically turn off at 7 p.m., for example. One new exciting option that we wanted to talk to you about is the ability of local control functionality using Bluetooth mesh. By using the new Bluetooth mesh, you can actually create a series of devices that can be locally paired or locally controlled. In addition, you can add a gateway to the functionality and then push those controls to the Tuya cloud. It allows for a lot of flexibility depending on your building needs, whether you need local control, local setup, or cloud control and setup. So here's an example of a Bluetooth lighting system for an office environment. It's equipped with lights, gateways, constant illumination sensors, motion sensors, remote controllers, and other equipment. There are a number of different scenarios that can be implemented, but they all work together. For example, through constant illumination sensors, you can link control of office area lighting. The brightness of the office environment is maintained at a constant value with the combination of indoor lighting and outdoor natural lighting. This provides a variety of lighting control methods. For example, use the remote control to switch the preset lighting mode with one click, or you could use voice to adjust lighting brightness, color temperature, or switch lighting modes. This provides a great example of flexibility of Bluetooth mesh. All different types of nodes like the panel lights, downlights, remotes, and switches all work together in a mesh through this single offering. So the Tuya platform can control all of the hardware components that you need to offer a smart connected lighting control system. For example, pre-developed dimmers, switches, on-off switches, motion sensors, daylight sensors, controllers, relays, and many others can be easily integrated. We always like to say here at Tuya, we've done the hard work. You just have to plug in. You can leverage Tuya's experience, vast resources, and IoT development tools. We've already done the hard work, so you don't have to. And this is a key differentiator of the Tuya platform. We can modify our existing system with your logo and your information so that your brand is out front. Tuya is remaining working in the background. So why Tuya? We're expansive in our approach, open to all types of products, experienced in over 100 different product categories. We have pre-qualified more than 10,000 OEM factories with hundreds of thousands of individual devices. You'll have the full support of the Tuya team to assist and conceptualize your go-to-market strategies from sourcing, product development, user interface customizations that we can help make specific to your brand identity for best-in-class user engagement. Our team delivers the knowledge of how to capitalize on the growth that is taking place in the smart commercial lighting market. Hopefully the lights have been turned on for you. Now we'll answer any questions that you have. Please submit additional questions through Q&A box. And of course, we're very thankful for your time today.
Great. Thank you so much, Brent. And I'll invite you back onto video for the Q&A session. Thanks again for a really informative introduction to the commercial lighting solution, how the Tuya solution solves a lot of challenges that the market is facing currently. So as Brent mentioned, please continue to submit your questions via the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom interface. And if there's a question that comes up that you think of as soon as we wrap today, feel free to send those questions to marketing@tuya.com. Okay, first question. So the first question we have here is, we're interested in the SaaS solution. We're wondering how to get started working with Tuya and what's the pricing model?
Yeah, I can do that one, no problem. So we offer an OEM solution for customers that's private label, as I said before. We actually deliver the OEM app, we deliver the solution along with the account management platform. And we do it obviously under their brand name. And it really depends on how much development you want to do. For example, some customers will come to us and they'll say, we already have a development team, but we want to use your cloud. And that has a certain cost structure, but obviously it saves money because we're not doing the development. The least expensive option obviously is to take our existing platform and just make some basic modifications, and then the system's up and running. And then we have other capabilities that you can add on. It could be voice, it could be additional device offerings, could be kind of across the board. So there's kind of a menu of options whenever it comes to pricing. A lot of it depends on who does the development and how much you want done.
Mm-hmm. Great, that makes a lot of sense. The next question here, we've gotten this a couple different ways. So does Tuya only provide the software solution, and how do we choose and purchase the hardware devices?
So the majority of what Tuya does is we're a cloud-based enablement company. So we're not really building out devices, but we maintain the relationships with the hardware providers. So what actually happens is that our OS is sitting on top of the communication protocol chip. So if it's a Wi-Fi or BLE or Zigbee chip, you're using the exact same chip that you normally would from other providers. In this case, it happens to have our operating system, and that's what helps it connect to the cloud, whether through a gateway or direct. So we don't manage the individual relationship as it comes to hardware, but we do already have the devices pre-selected in many cases, or we can work with an existing contract manufacturer that someone already has. So the majority of what we do is software-based, but we enable the devices on the back end, and then the customer maintains the relationship, issuing POs and things like that with the manufacturer.
All right, great, that makes sense. Okay, now the next question that I have for you, Brent, is with regard to the standard version of the SaaS and the professional version of the SaaS. So can we start with the standard version and then upgrade to the advanced or professional version in the future?
Absolutely. We just basically, it's a great way to get started, just to take the basic version and of any of these that we're talking about. Obviously, we're talking about commercial lighting today, but whether it's the security or the apartment or the hotel SaaS, You can do the basic version. You can just get started, dip your toes in. And then as you move up, then we'll obviously take into consideration what you've already paid against whatever the advanced version is as you need to move up.
All right, fantastic. And I've gotten this question a couple times about sharing the PowerPoint. So we will be, we have recorded the session and we'll be sending out the recording when we wrap here. Okay, another question about the SaaS itself. How many sub accounts can be created within the master account?
So you can actually create pretty much as many, if you choose the Tuya branded SaaS, we can provide one master account per customer, and the sub accounts can be created by the person who's setting up the master account. So really, there's no limitation. On the OEM service, it's pretty much the same way. You create the basic account, and then you can create as many master accounts as you want to be on that, or sub accounts, excuse me.
All right, fantastic. No limitations. Okay, keep those questions coming in through the Q&A panel. We're getting more and more questions. Okay, another question coming in here. Curious about Tuya's plans for the future. Will the platform continue to grow through 2021? Can you give us some insights into plans for 2021, Brent?
Sure. So Tuya is rapidly expanding. As I tell you what, I've never seen anything like it. From a R&D standpoint, from a growth plan standpoint, from an employee standpoint. So we're obviously always increasing the number of employees in R&D that we have, but we're also increasing the number of developers. We're going after new verticals and adding more product SKUs than I can possibly add. So from a standpoint of growth, there are going to be multiple protocol offerings that we're going to be adding. For example, like KNX or BACnet. There are also going to be other verticals that we're going to go after, including health and other things that we're currently working on. So we're going to expand products, we're going to expand employees, we're going to expand verticals. It's a pretty expansive growth plan that we have set up.
Awesome. And there's a related question that came in that I can probably answer. So do you have local presence in other countries like Pakistan, etc.? And the answer is yes, we do. And so if you're interested in working with us within different regions, you can go ahead and reach out to marketing@tuya.com, and the marketing team will make sure that we get you in contact with the right folks in your region. Okay. How long will it take to establish an OEM version of the SaaS? What is the average time it takes to develop?
Depends on the complexity. We've done it in as little as 3 to 4 weeks, depending on if there's no modifications. It's pretty standard to have it done in 2 to 3 months. Again, depending on what we need to do and the capabilities that we need to add. But the majority of the stuff is already built, including things like voice services, basic voice services. Obviously, if you want to customize the voice services for your system or your brand or whatever, that might take a little bit longer. But we're not talking years as if you had to build out your cloud platform and you had to hire developers and R&D and all of that. We're talking months, not years.
Mm-hmm. Great. Speed to market is one of our biggest solutions that we provide, helping folks get to market really quickly. Okay, question here about Z-Wave. So Z-Wave keeps coming up more and more as a protocol that customers have been asking about. Is that a protocol that Tuya is planning on supporting anytime in the future?
We've talked about it. Zigbee is very similar. And so we've spent more time on Zigbee, of course, with Chip coming up, being kind of based on the same. We're actually board members of the Zigbee Alliance. So we're always looking at the multiple protocols. We see Z-Wave a lot more in residential than we do in commercial, but that's not to say that we wouldn't move that direction eventually. So we're watching it. We're looking at it.
Great. Thanks, Brent. Okay, another question here about, let's see, got a lot of questions coming in lots of places. So another question we've got here is what kind of integrations are already done with different types of PMS, building management systems, and other industrial vertical specific solutions?
So it would kind of depend on which vertical you're looking at. So for example, in apartment, we're looking at a lot of different PMS systems. Hotel obviously has different ones, and so does the commercial system as well. We would have to look at each one individually, but we spend a lot of time integrating with multiple different systems. So it's a pretty short putt for us. If you're talking about integrating additional devices, that's pretty easy. I mean, we already have hundreds of thousands of devices already integrated. And so, like I said before, we can either work with your contract manufacturer if you have a specific device that you're looking for, or if you have, one of the existing devices. Tuya maintains a website called Tuya Expo. If you just Google Tuya's Expo, you'll see tens of thousands of devices, and it's not the entire list, but it does have a lot of them. And you can even select by Wi-Fi, by protocol, for example, Wi-Fi, BLE, Zigbee. You can select, door locks or robot vacuums or scooters. I mean, you can pick by device, you can pick by protocol, you can pick all kinds of different ones. And that Expo site is really good to see kind of the breadth of the product. Again, it's not all inclusive, but it gives you an idea of how many devices that we offer.
Great, that's super helpful. And if there's a particular a specific property management system or anything like that folks are interested if we integrate with those systems in particular, again, reach out to marketing@tuya.com and we can get you the latest and greatest information on the individual systems that we integrate with. Okay. There was another question that came in that I lost track of. Okay, do the lighting fixtures themselves need to be smart?
Not necessarily. So for example, if you have, 5 lighting fixtures on one load, and you have a switch, then the switch can be smart and you can obviously control it that way. It is becoming more common to put a chip actually right on the fixture itself. It increases obviously the mesh network capabilities depending on which format you're doing. And with LEDs lasting so long these days, actually having it built on the fixture is not as big a deal as it used to be whenever you were talking about incandescent or whatever. So you can, if it's not, if the device itself isn't connected, all you have to do is control the load or at a switch level.
Great. My next question here is related to what we were talking about with providing hardware. So for some high-end projects such as villas, hotels, mansions, etc., the appearance of the hardware itself is more important than the software. Does Tuya have such high-end hardware products with a sense of design?
Absolutely. So one of our flexibilities is that we have relationships with in excess of 10,000 different factories already. So I haven't seen a device yet that we didn't have access to. And even if we don't, it can be very easily, we can do contract work. We can take designs. I mean, we're not doing it, but we can take the designs, introduce you to the factory. They can work out a schedule to be able to build out something very specific for you. And because they're already working on the Tuya platform, it's very easy to integrate, right? So they're just changing the form factor. They're not necessarily changing. I mean, the hard part is changing the protocol, setting up the cloud integration and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Once you lay out the board and you're able to integrate already onto the protocol platform, changing the form factor is one of the easier things to do.
All right, fantastic. That makes sense. Okay. And I think with that, if anybody's got some more questions, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A box. And I'm just scrolling through. We got a couple other questions that came in through the chat feature. Okay. Well, Brent, I think that's going to do it for questions today. Any final words of advice for the audience before we wrap?
So a couple of things. We've got some more series coming up talking about our various software as a service platforms. So whether it be apartment, hotel, security, those are equally as important. And I think the real key thing is that Tuya already has this platform built. So for a lighting company, even if they've already started doing a little bit of work, to go from start to finish on a connected solution is very difficult, time consuming, and very costly. And the most important thing that I would probably leave people with, and the thing that's really unique about Tuya, is we're not really going to put our solution out in front. That's not who we are. We're an enablement company. We write the platform and then we customize it for the customers. We do the Alexa skills and give it to them, and they can submit them onto the store, but we do all the certifications. So we're not the forward-facing customer to the customer. We want to work with brand partners. We want to develop something for you and then have your app and your brand be out front. And that's really kind of a key differentiator in what we do, as opposed to you just offering someone else's kind of solution or even piecemealing it. And then we do it end to end, right? We don't do the devices, we don't make the devices, but because the OS sits on the device, we have kind of an end-to-end chain so we can protect data better, we can connect better, and it's a more complete solution. So that's really what I would leave people with, is those two differentiating features as it relates to you.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Brent. And thank you again for sharing all of this information and your insights today. We really